UFC, the world leader in MMA. Experience it on Fox Sports 2.
Saddle up, partner. The UFC has touched down in San Antonio, and we're bringing a good old-fashioned Texas shootout with us. One guy who is coming in with a full arsenal of weapons is that man, Cub Swanson. The Californian traveled east, and he brought a 5-fight winning streak with him. And he's going to have to defend that streak against this man, Jeremy Stephens. The Alliance MMA standout's fists are a pair of loaded guns, and they are aimed squarely at Swanson. Plus, the co-main event features Ultimate Fighter Season 17 winner Kelvin Gastelum. He'll put his 9-0 record up against Swede Nico Masoki. The UFC weigh-in show starts right now. They are getting set in San Antonio. Meanwhile, we're coming to you live from our Fox Sports studio in Los Angeles, California. Hi, everybody. I'm Karen Bryant alongside recovering former bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz and second-ranked light heavyweight Daniel Cormier. And Dominic, some rumors have been swirling that we might see you in action late August, early September against Mizugaki. Any truth to that?
Yeah, you know, they are until DC knows, until you sign that BOUT agreement, what really happens?
Nothing.
Nobody knows. So it's kind of one of those situations where I got my managers, Eric Del Fiero, and them the team talking to the UFC, and I'm just training, I'm healthy, I'm training every day, just working my butt off.
I gotta say, I like that fight, so I'm signing off on that one. And DC, we're gonna see you in action next week at the UFC Fan Expo. What's going on?
I can finally say that I am wrestling because there were a number of opponents, and Dominic Cruz was one of them in the air, and I did not want to wrestle him, so it wasn't set in stone. But now that Dominic's out, I am wrestling next Saturday, 10 a.m. at the UFC Fan Expo, launching my wrestling shoe, DC the Revolution.
Nice. Back in the singlet for one more time.
Back in the singlet. Dom's not wrestling, so I'm good to go.
Okay.
Wait, do you got kid sizes in those shoes so I can get a pair?
Yeah, with lifters.
Nice. Oh, gosh. Come on, guys. We're going to get right into our main event. Jeremy Stephens believes that the winner is going to get a title shot after Jose Aldo and Chad Mendes meet next month at UFC 176. But, Daniel, I want to talk about Cub Swanson. What do you think he's doing so well these days to put himself in a position for a title shot?
He's winning fights, and he's winning fights impressively. Cub Swanson has almost reinvented himself since he lost his first fight in the UFC. He's knocking guys out. He's beaten a laundry list of top fighters to get to where he is today. He's been yapping for his championship fight. Well, now he has the opportunity against a very tough Jeremy Stephens to earn it again, because most guys would have earned a title shot by beating Dennis Seaver. Cub has to do it again tomorrow night.
Now, Dominic, you train alongside Jeremy Stephens. What makes him so special?
Well, a few things. One, he's got power, just natural God-given power, and he believes in it. Two, he says it himself, he comes from the school of hard knocks, and that really is a gift for him because he knows how hard he had to work to get here. He started from the bottom, and he worked to the top, and he's done it with his bare hands. And he's going against a Cub Swanson who he knows is very skilled, but Jeremy believes in his power and believes in his skill set. He's got great timing. He's willing to eat one to land a harder one, and he knows it.
Well, and speaking of power, he's got 16 KOs, Cub Swanson with 11, both of them impressive finishers there. In our co-main event, Kelvin Gastelum is undefeated at 9-0, while Nico Masoki is on an 8-fight unbeaten streak. We're going to introduce the fourth member of our broadcast team. She's Heidi Andral, and she has got a report on those two great welterweights. Heidi?
Thank you very much, Karen. In the co-main event, it is the Ultimate Fighter 17 winner, Kelvin Gastelum, who returns to action, and maybe for the first time in his career, not as the underdog. Now, he's coming off of a split decision win over veteran Rick Story. He's undefeated, 3-0 in the UFC, but two of those most recent wins have come by split decision. He wants to prove that those wins were not luck or a fluke. He wants to make a statement here in San Antonio. He's going to have to do that against the Swede, Nico Masoki, who trains with one of the best, Alexander Gustafsson, out of Sweden. He's 12-2-1. Most of his fights have been in Europe. Of those wins, he has 4 knockouts, 5 submissions, proving that he can go anywhere the fight goes. Now, this will be his first fight on U.S. soil, so we will see if that makes a difference. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Heidi. Now keep it locked right here on Fox Sports 2, because when we come back, Swanson, Stephens, Gastelum, Masoki, and the rest of tomorrow's fight card make it official in the Lone Star State. The UFC Fight Night weigh-in show will be right back. Welcome back to the UFC weigh-in show. It is time for the fighters to hit the scale. So right now we're going to toss it down to San Antonio, where the one and only John Anik is standing by. Take it away, John.
What is up, San Antonio, Texas? Great to be here. Our Octagon girls, Chrissy Blair and Vanessa Hansen. The best matchmaker on the planet is Joe Silva. How about the All-American Brian Stan in the building? Our Senior Vice President of Regulatory Affairs is Mark Ratner. Little stage time for Tony Barboza as well. Let's get it going. Our first prelim is yours on UFCFightPass.com. It comes in the heavyweight division. Alexei the Boa Constrictor Olenek versus Anthony Freight Train Hamilton. First fighter to the scale, Anthony Hamilton.
Wednesday, don't miss UFC Tonight, featuring the top insiders and analysis in the sport, including a look ahead at UFC 175 and the Ultimate Fighter 19 finale. UFC Tonight is Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern as part of Red, White, and Fight Week, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
.253 for Anthony Hamilton. And his opponent also making his UFC debut, Alexei Olenek.
Watch the world's most exciting skateboarders live from Chicago as the 2014 Street League Skateboarding Nike SB World Tour gets underway Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
.240 for Alexei Olenek. All right, now we get to the UFC Fight Night prelims on Fox Sports 1. First up in the flyweight division, Ray the Taz Mexican Devil Borg versus Shane Howell.
UFC Fight Night on Fox Sports 1 returns tomorrow with a full card of epic bouts, including 4th-ranked Cub Swanson taking on 11th-ranked Jeremy Stevens. Coverage begins with the pre-fight show at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
.125 and a hook for Shane Howell. And his opponent, Ray Borg.
Tomorrow, it's a full day of MLB action, beginning with the Twins taking on the Rangers on Fox Sports 1. Then it's Baseball Night in America on Fox. Our MLB doubleheader begins tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 1 and continues at 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox.
.126 for Ray Borg. All right, next Next up in the middleweight division, Marcelo Guimarães versus Andy Lionheart Enns. First fighter to the scale, Andy Enns.
Andy Enns tried to get on Tough 17, came up a little short on fighting to get in the house, but now he is in the UFC, coming for his second fight, trying to get a win streak going. He is tough as nails. He competed in the sports of boxing, wrestling, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all by the age of 14, so you know fighting is in his blood. Keep a lookout for this guy to bring it.
.186 for Andy Enns. And his opponent, Marcelo Guimarães.
Next Sunday, two legends step into the octagon as second-ranked Frankie Edgar takes on BJ Penn in the epic Ultimate Fighter finale live from Las Vegas. Coverage begins with the pre-fight show at 6:30 p.m. Eastern as part of Red, White, and Fight Week on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
.186 for Marcelo Guimarães. Our next prelim is in the bantamweight division. Brutal Johnny Bedford versus Cody the Renegade GIBSON.
Sometimes you find a guy that just loves to fight. Cody GIBSON is that guy. My friend Dominic Cruz is not that guy. If he wasn't fighting, he'd be modeling. GIBSON used to take fights for $100 a fight because he just loved to scrap.
.135 for Cody GIBSON. And his opponent, Johnny Bedford.
Johnny Bedford started wrestling at the age of 5. In his senior year, he had a record of 51-1. His wrestling coach, well, that was his dad.
.136 for Johnny Bedford. And the feature bout of the prelims comes in the lightweight division. Colton Smith versus Carlos Diego Ferreira.
Undefeated lightweight Carlos Diego Ferreira was born in the deep Amazon of Brazil. He started doing jiu-jitsu at 10 years old. By 18, he was already a black belt. He wanted a better life for himself, so he moved to the United States, and he now calls Texas home.
.155 for Carlos Diego Ferreira. And his opponent, Colton Smith.
How's this for a stat? Colton Smith won the Ultimate Fighter Season 16 without ever having the luxury of being able to train MMA full-time. How's he addressed that? Well, he went out to Jackson's Winklejohns out in Albuquerque to make sure that he's prepared. I cannot wait to see how he competes with this great team behind him.
$156 for Colton Smith.
Welcome back inside our Fox Sports studios. Karen Bryant, Dominic Cruz, and Daniel Cormier. The undercard is all weighed in. Now it's time for the 6-bout main card, starting with a lightweight fight between James Muntasri and Joe Ellenberger. Ellenberger is up first.
The Moonwalker, James Muntasri, is a 2-time Taekwondo champ, a 2007 silver medalist at the Pan Am Games, and he has earned his way with an impressive run in the Resurrection Fighting Alliance. He makes his debut here.
$156 for James Muntasri. And his opponent also making his UFC debut, Joe Ellenberger.
Here comes Joe Ellenberger. He's actually Jake Ellenberger's twin brother. Can't tell. Right next to each other wearing the Spurs jerseys. Joe is a 2-time national All-American. He's got a bachelor's in industrial distribution and a master's in sports administration. I could barely even say that, so I know this guy's smart. Keep a lookout. This guy brings it. He's got a great base, great wrestling, great boxing. He fights a lot like his brother, and this guy just wants to get in there and brawl, and you know it.
$155.5 for Joe Ellenberger.
I have to say, I'm so happy that Joe is finally getting a fight. He's had a change of opponents. He and Jake were actually supposed to fight on the same card a little while ago, so happy to see Joe finally get his chance.
I don't like the guy wearing the jersey in the town that he's in. It's like those professional wrestlers screaming the city just to get like a cheap pop.
All right, our next bout is in the middleweight division. Clint Headbuster Hester versus Antonio Braga Neto. First fighter to the scale, Antonio Braga Neto.
Antonio Braga Neto is on a 5-fight unbeaten streak. He has not been in the octagon for a little over a year now. He was set to fight in November, suffered a right shoulder injury that prohibited him from fighting back then. We'll see if that is an issue here.
$185 for Antonio Braga Neto. And his opponent, Clint Hester.
Clint Hester is an impressive fighter. If you recall, he was on Tough 17 and was the first pick on John Jones's team. Got upset early in the competition, but has taken full advantage of his second opportunity. 3-0 in the UFC, going for his 4th win in a row. He's looked nothing short of impressive in his return to the octagon. Professional boxing experience. Clint Hester is a great fighter. A good fighter, I'm sorry. I get crazy here.
$186.5 for Clint Hester. We're going to grab that towel if you don't mind. Thank you.
Clint's a little overweight here, half a pound. Those shorts should actually be okay. It'll be close though.
146 for
Then
Clint
he makes the weight,
Hester.
yes, heavy shorts. It's always funny how those girls just make a beeline out of there, huh? You wonder what they're thinking.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Move along.
Clint Hester's a blue belt, and he's going against his opponent who's a 11-time jiu-jitsu world champion. That blue belt needs to stay in his locker room. I would not bring that to the fight.
How about his 9 pro boxing matches, though?
Yeah, but I would not bring that blue belt to the fight.
Next up in the featherweight division, Ricardo the Bully Lamas versus Hakrin Diaz.
Hakrin Diaz was actually a lifeguard before he started training MMA. He takes on Ricardo Lamas in this one. Lamas coming off of a loss to the champion Jose Aldo, someone Hakrin Diaz knows well. In fact, the two are teammates. If he can get past Lamas in this one, well, he could catapult himself into the top 10.
.146 for Hakrin Diaz. And his opponent, he is the former world title challenger, Ricardo Lamas.
Ricardo Lamas, a guy I know real well. He's got 6 fights in the WEC, which is where I come from, along with a lot of other guys like Sun and Tech. He comes from Elmhurst graduate. He's an Elmhurst graduate, in 2005 with a degree in exercise science. So you know he's in shape. He's a Division III All-American wrestler. And like Heidi was saying, he's fighting a teammate of Jose Aldo Jr. I think this fight right here will really tell him where he belongs in the scheme of things for the title. He can do well against a guy like Diaz. He can really prepare himself for a guy like Aldo in the future again, possibly.
And he weighed in at 146 there, looking good. I like that haircut.
He's got a nice haircut. This is a trap fight, though, Ricardo Lamas. When you're coming off a title fight and you lost in the way that he did, these are the types of fights you have to really, really be prepared for.
Though, of course, no shame in losing to Jose Aldo.
No, there's no shame, but you don't want to lose to Jose Aldo and then lose to his teammate because you're still kind of sore from the fight against a champion.
Not to mention
moving
they
on
fight
now to a featured
exactly the
bout
same.
in the middleweight division. CEZAR Mutanchi Baheda versus Andrew Highlight Craig. First fighter to the scale is Andrew Craig.
Andrew Craig is actually a U.S. ACA middleweight champ, which is basically an amateur champ. He's 4-0 at that. He has a degree in corporate communications from Texas University. He started MMA right out of college, so he's pursuing this career as a fighter regardless of what he did in college, which you hear so much of fighters. They leave the school and say, I'm done with this. I'm ready to fight people for a living, and that's what Andrew Craig looks like he's getting ready to do. And he's got bananas on his shorts.
186 for Andrew Craig. And his opponent, CEZAR Mutanchi Baheda.
CEZAR Mutanchi was the winner of the Ultimate Fighter Brazil Season 1. He was on an absolute roll before his last fight against Dalloway. He is a massive fighter for his weight division. Very explosive, very opportunistic. I remember his last fight before Dalloway, clipped the guy with a big overhand right, jumped right on a submission and got him right out of there. Not to mention he trains down with the Black Zillions. Vitor Belfort has long been his idol, his role model. This is an impressive fighter. He's going to be looking to rebound tomorrow night.
Yeah, Vitor is actually his mentor. Vitor told me years ago when I first met CEZAR that CEZAR would be a champion.
186 for Mutanchi.
Great thing about CEZAR Mutanchi as well is he's a capoeira master, so he's got some very creative striking.
Yes, and a third-degree black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This
So
guy's talented.
we're saying he's pretty good.
He is a good fighter. Andrew Craig's very good, too, though.
Yes, absolutely. Andrew Craig with some great kicks as well.
I like his mustache.
You like that?
Yeah, that caught my
the
attention.
Co-main event in the welterweight division. Kelvin Gastelum versus Nico Masoki.
Nico Masoki is unbeaten in his last 8 fights. He's won 5 fights by submission. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu purple belt, Finished 7 opponents in the first round. A lot of times, you see guys like Kelvin Gastelum. They fight these guys, and the guys are a little intimidated by the TV time on The Ultimate Fighter, by the success Gastelum has had since he went to the octagon. Musoke is not intimidated. He is ready for this opportunity. It's going to be a great fight.
171 for Nico Musoke.
And Musoke does train with Alexander Gustafsson, Tor Troing, Magnus Sedenblad, Reza Madadi. Team All-Star out there in Sweden. They're getting things done.
Kelvin Gastelum.
Gastelum has a record of having trouble making weight every now and then, right, DC? And, you know, he's finished 7 of his 9 fights, though. He's 9-0 right now, and that's pretty impressive. He trains out of Yuma, Arizona, and he actually trains with the guy I used to work with, Chance Ferrara. That helps. He helps coach him. He's currently a Bales bondsman now, and he was also a Tough 17 competitor on Chael Sonnen's team. Let's see if he gets in there and makes weight.
Won it. This is not good.
No, it does not bode
Takes too
well.
long. When it takes this long, it's not good.
He also sort of seems resigned to the fact that
Kelvin looks pretty full right now. Not
173.
173.
He's 2 pounds over.
2 pounds.
Normally, he looks pretty sucked
He
down
will
whenever
have
he
2
gets on the
hours
scale.
to cut the final 2 pounds.
The one thing about Musoke is, though, there is nothing like stepping on the scale, knowing you are at weight and it's done. That is going to give him confidence going into the fight tomorrow. Now, for Gastelum, he has 2 hours to make the weight. If he does not make the weight in 2 hours, he forfeits 20% of his fight purse to Nico. This is the second fight in a row he's done this.
All right, now it is time to take a closer look at the 2 gentlemen involved in tomorrow night's featherweight main event. Take a look.
When Jeremy Stephens looks over at Cub Swanson and Cub Swanson looks over at Jeremy Stephens and they close that cage door, they might as well be looking into a mirror. Either one can knock each other out. Either one can win by submission.
Our fighting style just speaks for itself. We're 2 great fighters. We're 2 hungry men that are fighting for that strap. I got to go out there and I'm going to dictate the pace and put the pressure on him. And, you know, once he gets hit by me, he'll understand he's not in there with a regular character. He's really going to feel the steel. I can knock this guy out in the 1st or the 5th round.
Jeremy Stephens is a serious, ferocious, one-strike knockout fighter. He had knockout power as a lightweight, as a featherweight. He's an absolute destroyer.
I believe Jeremy is one-dimensional. Jeremy's got that one-punch knockout, you know, and he's got it every round. But I'm hit pretty hard too, and I think I'm more accurate.
Oh, right hand over the top. And he's hurt. He's done. And it is all over. He's done. Cub Swanson by knockout. What Cub Swanson aims to achieve inside the octagon is what he describes as beautiful destruction.
No, I'm not going out there to play it safe. I believe you got to make a statement every fight. I want to make it look easy.
Swanson all over him.
So I put that pressure on myself to go out there and dominate in a fashion that it just looks beautiful.
I mean, you got 2 guys with serious momentum coming right at each other. It's going to be nothing but fireworks. It's going to be a scrap. It's going to be a war. I can't stop, won't stop. I'm going straight to the top. Nothing's going to get in my way. You know, everything he's good at, I just feel like I'm better at. And I'm going to go out there, I'm going to prove it, and I'm going to put a whooping up on Cub Swanson.
First fighter to the scale, making his 19th UFC appearance, Jeremy Lil Heathen Stephens.
3-0 at featherweight, being Jeremy Stephens. 18 fights in the UFC. He's a family man completely. This guy is just a great guy altogether. 16 KO wins. I mean, there's not much you can say about Jeremy that everybody doesn't know because he's such a beast. The transformation of Jeremy in his wrestling and his grappling, you know, I've seen it firsthand, and that's something that I really see being a hidden key in this fight with Cub. He really can mix in the takedowns.
$145
Quite a beard.
for Jeremy
He
Stephens.
there as well.
Dom's sporting a little beard himself.
And
I'm
his
trying to learn
opponent
from Shadow.
currently
Trying to learn
ranked
from Jeremy
number
there,
4 in
you
the
know?
world,
He's got the real man beard there.
Swanson.
Cub Swanson is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He has 11 wins by knockout. He's very athletic. He has changed his game since joining the camp of Timothy Bradley and Joel Diaz, a very aggressive fighter looking to reclaim a featherweight title fight. He fought Jose Aldo once. It didn't go as he thought it would, and he says he can do so much better. He has to look impressive tomorrow night. If he does that, he'll earn that title shot again.
$145 for Cub Swanson.
Jeremy Stephens is big. I mean, he is a big 145. Look at the size
What a
of
main
that
event
head.
we got in store here tomorrow night. Cub
Pretty intense
Swanson.
there.
Cub's a big guy too, but Jeremy Stephens, I mean, this is the weight that he needs to be fighting at.
Thank you all so much for coming out. We'll see you right back here for the fights tomorrow night.
All right, thank you.